The second thing, when we further study this in greater detail, the second reason why this is so strongly condemned is that idol worship ultimately leads you to self-aggrandizement and worshipping yourself as man, worshipping your own ego. And this is also true in the light of the history of idol worship. Every idol worshipping nation, ultimately ended up with human worship. Pharaohs were created, overlords were created, either directly temporal heads or religious heads. But ultimately, they stood as symbols of those deities whom they led others to worship. And because there had to be some living symbol, so human beings were ultimately worshipped. And man bowed to man. And when man begins to bow to man, most wicked type of fascism or communism is created. Why I call fascism and communism, that is another subject, but I have a reason why I bracket these things. But for the time being, let it suffice that wherever you see great despots, most shocking, most terrible despots who have been so cruel to mankind, in the background of those despots, you will always see idol worship. Wherever there is a one God, single God being worshipped by a people, no despots are created. They are the creation of idol worshiping. That being so, when idol worshiping is condemned, calling partners beside Allah is condemned, it is for the sake of human beings themselves, not for the sake of Allah. Now, these and there are many other reasons which I can count one after the other, make us believe positively that there is nothing selfish about Allah in forbidding us to worship Him and none other. When He does so and when He emphasizes so, when the prophets emphasize the subject so much, it is entirely for our own sake and not for the sake of Allah's aggrandizement. Now that was the negative part. As far as the positive part is concerned, of that I have already spoken earlier in my Dars on Surah Fatiha last year and the year before. When you worship Allah, you worship Him because of your conviction that He is good, and because you know that He is good from the attributes which He Himself has revealed to you. And when you worship Him, there is a positive method, way, and the modus operandi how you can reach Him and you can contact Him as a living being, as a living person, and as one who responds to you directly, not only through other products. So the whole relationship between of God and His creation, that is man, becomes a real issue which can be extended to all human beings. And all human beings can directly experience this. And it can be demonstrated in their lives that there is a living God with whom one can come into contact. And that means of communication is worship or prayer. So naturally, because it's all important for us, the prophets laid special stress upon this. Their first fight was with those who were idol worshippers. And this is how the story of difficulties begin.